Viewers, the Rajya Sabha has also been adjourned till 11:30 a.m. today. The Vice President, who is also the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, has been addressing the members of the Rajya Sabha. He's clearly stated that nothing in the proceedings will go on record. This has prompted a very quick uproar from the opposition members in the parliament. Now, the Lok Sabha, of course, adjourned till 12 p.m. after ruckus as well. The Lok Sabha, of course, commenced itself with opposition members sloganeering, demanding an adjourn. They, of course, given an adjournment motion. They've been demanding for a JPC, particularly with regards to the Adani issue as well. Rahul Gandhi is speaking out to the media. Let's listen in.
As we have said, hundreds of people are being arrested on tiny charges. The gentleman has been indicted in the United States for thousands of crores. He should be in jail. And the government, please let me speak, and the government is protecting him.
All right, there, of course, viewers, Rahul Gandhi speaking out to the media. He's stated that the government is protecting Adani and that Adani should be in jail. This is what Rahul Gandhi has had to say to the media this morning. Here, of course, we've seen both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha adjourn. There was sloganeering in the Lok Sabha where opposition members of parliament, they have been demanding a joint parliamentary committee probe into the US Department of Justice indictment against Gautam Adani. Remember, there is no evidence that has been provided by the US Department of Justice. There are no charges of bribery against Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain as per the DOJ indictment. Now, of course, we've seen a significant hue and cry in the Lok Sabha, but similar such situations started erupting in the Rajya Sabha as well when the Vice President, who's also the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha, he was speaking and it stated that no discussion will be going on record. Meanwhile, my colleague Kanika Katiyar with us. Kanika, yet another high-octane parliament session we've seen over the last 3 days itself. Ever since the winter session commenced, the opposition has been very adamant on cornering the government with the DOJ indictment against Adani. What's taken place?
विंटर सेशन स्टार्ट हुआ है तब से जो विपक्ष की तमाम सांसद हैं और विपक्ष पार्टी है वो अडानी इशू को पार्लियामेंट में रेज करने की कोशिश कर रही है और जेपीसी की मांग जो है वो लगातार की जा रही है। जब पहला सेशन का फर्स्ट डे था तब भी हंगामा देखने को मिला था कि अडानी इशू पे किस तरह से जो ऑपोजिशन है उसने सरकार से सवाल किए थे और लोकसभा में और राज्यसभा में ये डिमांड की थी कि अडानी इशू पे जो है जेपीसी की कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए और उस पर इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए और लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में उसका डिस्कशन भी होना चाहिए। लेकिन आज एक बार फिर से लोकसभा की जब कार्रवाई शुरू हुई तो तुरंत जो है ऑपोजिशन की ओर से ये इशू रेज किया गया कि अडानी ये जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन इशू है उस पर जेपीसी की मांग होनी चाहिए, जिसके बाद जो है लोकसभा की जो कार्रवाई है वो 12 बजे तक के लिए स्थगित कर दी गई है। इसके अलावा लगातार ऑपोजिशन की ओर से और स्पेशली राहुल गांधी जो है वो लगातार अडानी इशू को रेज करते आए हैं और ऑपोजिशन की तमाम जो पार्टीज के मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं वो लोकसभा और राज्यसभा में लगातार अडानी इशू को रेज कर रहे हैं और अब राइट नाउ जो है जेपीसी की मांगी जा रही है कि ज्वाइंट पार्लियामेंट कमेटी गठित होनी चाहिए, उस पर जो है अडानी इशू को डिस्कस होना चाहिए। लेकिन इसके अलावा सरकार से लगातार ये मांग की जा रही है कि अडानी इशू पे इन्वेस्टिगेशन जो है वो होनी चाहिए।
Indeed, and Rahul Gandhi has also come out and slammed Gautam Adani. He said earlier itself in the day that they will take up this issue in the parliament as far as Rule 267 is concerned. And now he is asked, do you think Adani will accept the charges? And he stated that he should be arrested. In fact, this is the latest statement that has been made by Rahul Gandhi.
देखिए बिल्कुल लगातार राहुल गांधी लंबे समय से जब से अडानी मामले की रिपोर्ट जो है वो मीडिया के सामने आई है, राहुल गांधी लगातार इस मामले को रेज कर रहे हैं और सरकार से गिरफ्तारी की मांग भी कर रहे हैं। बल्कि अब से कुछ देर पहले पार्लियामेंट के भीतर राहुल गांधी जब मीडिया से बातचीत की तब भी उन्होंने यही कहा कि अडानी का जो इशू है उस पर बात होनी चाहिए, संसद के भीतर चर्चा होनी चाहिए और उन पर इन्वेस्टिगेशन होना चाहिए। रूल 267 के तहत जो है लगातार जो है अडानी इशू पे चर्चा की मांग की जा रही है। इसके अलावा जो है इन्वेस्टिगेशन की मांग भी की जा रही है और राहुल गांधी साफ तौर पे अडानी इशू को लेकर जो है अग्रेसिव मोड में नजर आ रहे हैं। और देखा जाए तो अडानी जो मामला है उसको लेकर अडानी की ओर से, अडानी ग्रीन्स की ओर से बल्कि जो स्टेटमेंट आया है उसके बाद राहुल गांधी की ये पहला स्टेटमेंट है जिसमें वो लगातार ये बोल रहे हैं कि पार्लियामेंट के भीतर जो है अडानी विवाद पे चर्चा होनी चाहिए और सरकार को जो है जवाबदेही तय करनी पड़ेगी या जवाब देना पड़ेगा। तो कहीं ना कहीं ऑपोजिशन के तमाम जो मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं और स्पेशली लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन राहुल गांधी जो है वो लगातार अडानी इशू को रेज कर रहे हैं और इस बार का जो सेशन है वो इसीलिए अग्रेसिव दिख रहा है क्योंकि अडानी इशू जो है वो बहुत बड़ा इशू बनता हुआ नजर आ रहा है।
Indeed, Kanika, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast. We also have with us this morning Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian. Good morning, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us on NewsX. We've just seen yet another high-octane session of the winter parliament. Right now, both houses have been adjourned. The Lok Sabha in particular was witness to a lot of cacophony, especially by the opposition members of parliament who've been sloganeering, demanding a joint parliamentary committee to be formed in order to probe the US indictment against Gautam Adani. But there have been fresh revelations that have come to light as well. Gautam Adani, his nephew Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain have not been charged for bribery. There's no evidence that has been mentioned in the DOJ indictment. Now, Rahul Gandhi has come out and he says that Adani should be arrested and that the government is protecting Adani. What do you make of his statement, and why do you think the opposition is taking up this issue so vociferously in order to corner the central government?
Well, all we can say is that, Rahul Gandhi is making a lot of noise because he has nothing else to talk about. Although there are several issues that he can talk about, but he's so focused on this issue, he is losing sight of the fact that no one in India is interested in knowing what he has to say about Adani. Yes, if you want to talk about price rise, if you want to talk about other things, which affects people's lives, you want to talk about India's geopolitical position and situation and all these things, you want to talk about China, you want to talk about Pakistan, you want to talk about Bangladesh. I am certain there will be many more people listening to him if he was talking about Bangladesh. No one cares. No one cares even an iota about what Rahul Gandhi has to say about Adani. Frankly, this is a non-issue. This is the issue of a corporate, which is, whatever is happening, it's a legal course and all that. Why is it an issue for Indian Parliament? I don't understand this nonsense. What is going on here? So basically, Rahul Gandhi needs to grow up, and more importantly, his advisors need to realize that they are totally barking up the wrong tree. This issue has no resonance whatsoever. But he is convinced, because perhaps his handlers, whatever they are, they have told him that this is a big issue. But as usual, this also is going to flop.
Indeed, ma'am, I request you to stay on with us because Adani Green Energy Limited has also issued now a significant statement regarding the US indictment involving the group's chairman Gautam Adani and his nephew Sagar Adani. Now, as per the statement, the corruption charges against Adani, his nephew Sagar Adani and senior executive Vineet Jain under the US Foreign Corrupt Practices Act by the US Department of Justice are incorrect. Now, the company has acknowledged that allegations of security and wire fraud have been leveled. However, it has dismissed any charges related to bribery or foreign corruption. They've also highlighted a few media outlets who are disseminating wrong information, and on that note, before I rope in Joyita Basu ma'am, who's still waiting with us on the broadcast, I have the letter that has been issued by AGEL with me on my system over here. I request the crew upstairs to kindly showcase it to our viewers. The letter is of course dated November 27th, 2024. Here of course you can see the subject is intimation under Regulation 30 of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, listing obligations and disclosure requirements regulations. Now, this is in relation to the intimation dated November 21st, 2024 that the United States Department of Justice and the United States Security and Exchange Commissions have issued a criminal indictment and brought a civil complaint respectively in the US District Court for the Eastern District of New York against the directors, namely Mr. Gautam Adani and Mr. Sagar Adani. The US DOJ have also included their director, namely Mr. Vineet Jain, in such a criminal indictment. There are articles circulating in the media, and they've pointed out the media publishing houses. Forbes India article published on 22nd November 2024 at 3:58 p.m. claiming that Adani Group's alleged FCPA violation, the Ports to Power conglomerate founded by Gautam Adani, has been accused of violating the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. They've also gone on to call out the CNBC article published on 21st November 2024 at 6:37:08 p.m. IST, claiming that the Adani Group is facing mounting legal challenges in the United States, with both the Department of Justice and the Securities and Exchange Commissions leveling bribery charges against the conglomerate under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. The Times of India article published on 24th November 2024 at 7:18 IST, claiming separately the US Department of Justice has indicted Gautam and Sagar Adani, former executives of Canadian Pension Fund CDPQ and Azure Power. They have also been accused of violating the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act. There's another Times of India article published on 22nd November 2024 at 22:37 IST, claiming US prosecutors have indicted Gautam Adani, his nephew Sagar Adani and others. Charges include conspiracy to violate the Foreign Corruption Prevention Act, securities fraud and obstruction of justice. There's also a Business Today article published on 21st November 2024 at 8:53 p.m. IST, claiming billionaire Gautam Adani and several others accused by US authorities. The allegations center around misleading US investors and institutions to secure billions in funding, triggering a 5-count criminal indictment under the Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, that is the FCPA. These all state that certain of their directors, namely Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain, have been charged with violations of the US Foreign Corrupt Practices Act in the indictment, and that such statements are incorrect. The AGEL letter further goes on to state that Gautam Adani, Sagar Adani and Vineet Jain have not been charged with any violation of the FCPA in the counts set forth in the indictment of the US Department of Justice or civil complaint of the US SEC. These directors have been charged on 3 counts in the criminal indictment, namely alleged securities fraud conspiracy, alleged wire fraud conspiracy and alleged securities fraud. They have gone on to ask to further refer to their intimation dated November 27, 2024 for details in relation to the criminal indictment and the civil complaint in terms of the Securities and Exchange Board of India listing obligations and disclosure requirements. So this is of course a formal response that has been issued by the Adani Green Energy Limited. Still with us on the broadcast is Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian. Thank you for waiting and for your patience while I was reading out the entire response by the Adani Group. We've seen the Adani Group face and suffer losses amounting to nearly 55 billion US dollars. They've lost investor confidence. They've faced increased scrutiny by their strategic partners as well. They've lost some international deals, one energy deal in Kenya being a primary example. And we all know the fact that they're competing with US and Chinese entities on a global level. So do you think there has been a targeted hit job, not just on Adani, but the Indian economy and India's growth story at large?
Frankly, we are not competing with US, we are competing with China. Okay? And this particular Kenyan deal went to China. So, and the problem is that certain sections in the US administration, they are totally sold to China, and they are compromised. So they are the people who are doing all this. And the thing is, you see, I mean, whatever steps that the US is taking right now is helping China to the maximum. So the thing is, I mean, but you can't help it, no? If your people are sold, that is not our fault. Okay? And the thing is that this is an example of it. Yes, obviously it's a hit job at the Indian economy, but at the same time, what I mean amazes me is that our own leaders are trying to make Indian economy, trying to hurt Indian economy. Basically, the whole attempt is to make the stock markets tank. All right, ensure that investors lose wealth, and that is what exactly Rahul Gandhi is doing. And frankly, if that is the main leader, one of the main leaders of the opposition, if that is what his target is, then sorry, we have to start questioning his intentions and his loyalty to India. That's it.
Indeed, ma'am. One quick follow-up to that as well. Several distinguished lawyers have spoken about this issue. One being senior advocate Mahesh Jethmalani. He's gone on to say that in the nature of the indictment is very sketchy in terms that evidence has not been provided, and he's pointed out towards the timing as well, considering the fact that Gautam Adani did congratulate Donald Trump. There are several other coincidences, including the fact that the court where the case was filed is the same court which had indicted Donald Trump earlier as well. So he stated that it seems to be a hatchet job and has pointed towards the deep state apparatus. What would you like to add to this?
Yes, you see, the whole point is that this is totally apolitical. This is political, and it is no, it has got far-reaching ramifications in that way. The whole conspiracy is political. Not only, it is directed against our Prime Minister. It is directed against the next administration. They are basically, you see, they can't do anything to Donald Trump right now because Donald Trump is going to be president. He has won with a landslide. The Democratic establishment does not have anything. They cannot do anything to him. So what they are doing now is that they are trying to clear the pitch for Donald Trump so that once he comes to power, once he assumes the presidency, he faces difficulty in every which way possible, and including the problem in I would say their international relations in terms of U.S. relations with India. So basically, that they're kind of, this is what is known as scorched earth policy. Scorched earth policy, say when a military has been defeated, what they do when they are leaving that particular, war zone or country or whatever, they burn everything down so that the next administration, the administration whichever is coming, the victors that are coming in, they have a tough time to basically rejuvenate that place. Okay, it is the same one. I'm sorry, I have to leave now. I don't have any more time.
All right, ma'am. With that, I'd like to thank you for joining us on the broadcast. Meanwhile, viewers, my colleague Arzu Seth has also spoken to senior advocate Mahesh Jethmalani about the charge sheet against Adani. Let's in fact listen into this conversation.
Joining us, senior advocate Mahesh Jethmalani. Sir, what did you make of the charge sheet that is being charged against the Adani group?
Look, it is without any substance. There is no the entire basis of this whole. Let us see. Forget the details, right? Please tell us what is the evidence that suggests that bribes were paid in India. Please ask the Congress Party. Please tell us what is the evidence. Forget the indictment and its wordings. Because in the indictment, there is no evidence, right? So please ask Rahul Gandhi, what is the evidence which suggests that bribes were paid in India? Because the main allegation is, right, the only allegation which the Americans themselves will know about, but they're keeping secret, is that in the United States, right, the bonds which were floated by Adani Greens, right, the investors who subscribed to those bonds were induced to buy them, or they otherwise would not have subscribed to those bonds if you had told them that you were going to give bribes in India to get contracts.